Okay, I'm going to just scroll back through my many screens, and we're going to now jump in to explore Google Forms, and I'm going to hand over to Charmaine, and she's going to show you the incredible things that you can do with Google Forms.
Thanks, Barbara. By far, one of my favorite tools is Google Forms. I actually even use it in a personal capacity for RSVPs. But there are so many use cases, and after this demo, Barbara will also touch on use cases for forms. But I'm actually going to show you a form quickly that we're going to create and that you guys are also filling in for us today, so we can actually show you the responses and the sheets at the back end and so on. So again, from Gmail, you can access your waffle and you can just click on Google Forms. It opens your sort of like Forms homepage. So it's quite nice if you know the URLs, if you don't have the waffle, or if you don't access via the waffle, you can just use forms.google.com or docs.google.com or sheets.google.com, but the waffle is easier. So we'll just create a new form. So we're going to say start new form. And in this, it's something that I actually want to have questions that you can see the variety of question options, but also something that you can relate to in actual data to actually answer the questions. So firstly, again, we want to title the form. So there we go, work from home check-in. You can actually add a description from HR. For example, this could be a form that's sent by HR to the whole team. Let's say the company is sort of in the decision-making phase of do we do work from home, work from office, or both, and just a check-in of employees to see how they're doing. So you can actually customize the look and feel of the form as well. So it can suit your company branding. So whatever color that would be, it would automatically adapt in 4 different colors, dependent on the color that you chose. Or if you actually upload a header image with your branding, it would actually adopt the colors within that image as well. So it is very intuitive and it's really user-friendly as well. One thing I want to show you is just different sections. So if you know, it's sort of good to map something out in your mind, and then by the time you actually implement it on a form or a sheet, it's actually sort of planned out. But there are different sections. So that little icon there is the button that allows you to add in different sections. So you can see the work from home check-in in the beginning. You can literally in there just add a description, even add an image if you want, whether that's company branding or a joke or a quote or something to just sort of uplift the team's spirit. And then on the sections, this is sort of going to be like a flip through page when they actually fill out the form, and you'll see it when you do it. But we're actually going to have section 1 with personal information. And again, this is something that based on the section title and based on what you type on question, Google will automatically suggest a field type for you for that specific question. So if I add in name and surname, it gives me a short answer there. It's a little bit slow on my end. Normally it would suggest that quite quickly. You also have the option to actually make it required or not. So let's say you want employees to fill this form out if they want with their name, or anonymously if they want, then you actually wouldn't make that a required field. To add a question, you just click on that little plus. So this is a question within the same section where you can just ask for their email address. Not that you won't have that already, but it changes it to short answer there. And again, if you want it compulsory, you can actually add it required there. But for this case, we want actually to encourage answers, even though it could be anonymous. And then phone number. This could be any form of data. I just want to show you basically how that works in terms of suggesting a specific field type. There we go. So again, you can actually record these from a required perspective. And then also, if you collect email addresses, there's a whole lot that you can do with that afterwards. You can set up notifications if someone actually fill in the form. You can send an autoresponder to that email address. So there's a lot of features and functionalities that you can use with extensions in Google Forms to really help you operate and streamline the process a lot more. So on a second section, let's do, so working from home has been. This is sort of just a check-in to see how your staff is doing, just as an example. So you can actually say there are different options like multiple choices or checkboxes. So let's just call this one check-in rather. And then the question can be, working from home has been. And then it would actually give you the difference between checkboxes and multiple choice is with multiple choice, you can choose only one. With checkboxes, you can choose more than one. So in this case, it would actually populate the checkboxes for you, and you can just type that in. So you can add in difficult, so much fun. Loved to have my kids at home. In the office. Whatever your content is in that regard. There we go. Then in this section, as part of a check-in, you can ask a simple question like, do you need emotional support? And you can do a simple, this could be a multiple choice, yes or no, or you can actually do a drop down. I just want to show how this one works. So you can actually say yes, or it suggested no for me. There we go, no. And then if we add one more question, and this, you don't have to answer the whole thing, but if you actually want feedback from a honest perspective where you encourage employees to actually give you feedback and talk to you, you can ask a question and select the paragraph option so they can actually, there is a lot of characters that they can actually then type within. There we go. Okay, so then another section, that's our last one. It's just to say work from home preference. So this would be something that the HR can actually implement from a practical perspective if they want. Ooh, preference. Thank goodness for Google grammar checks, ne? So this would be something to say, I prefer to, and you can add in the options here, work from home only, or work from the office only, or a bit of both. Whatever the case may be in that regard. Yeah, and then I think there's one more field I just want to add quickly, and this could be something like, on what date would you like to return to the office? Dates. Would you like to return to the office? There we go, and it suggests the date for you, and with the person filling in, they would actually be able to populate the date field in there. So now you've got like a basic form with sections and different questions, and you can actually view the form. So this would be a preview of how it would look for the receiver or the person who will be filling it in. I won't be able to go, oh, I can go through it now. It's not required questions, but there you go. It's like first page, check in on a second page, and work from home preference. If you want, you can add in like another section that just says if you have any more questions or comments or whatever, you can actually do that. So let me go back to the form and then just share it with you. There we go. Just want to make sure there are actually restrictions and also security measures to make sure that a form is not shared outside of your organization or with a non-trusted domain, for example. So I'm just going to uncheck this box right now just to say that our attendees today, as well as the people in our team, can actually respond to this form. There we go. So if you click the send button, you'll see that there are different ways to do it. You can send an email directly from this form, and then you can choose to include the form in that email. Or you can actually create the URL link. You can shorten it. That can also be sent on numerous platforms, or you can embed it. If it's something in a website, let's say a leave application, for example, if you use Google Sites internally and you use a leave application form, you can embed it in that Google site, for example. So for the moment, I'm just going to quickly share it with our team. And then I'm just going to include the form. So they will receive an email now, and then I'm also going to just share it in the chat for everyone here to collaborate. The advantage of shortened URLs is if, let's say, for example, you need to SMS a form URL, then the long URL might actually take up all of the characters and you can't really add any other text. So let's just quickly paste it in there. Just a shout out to Zia and Katie at the back for doing all of the technical work. So there we go. You'll see the link in the comment section on YouTube. So while you guys fill out the form, I just want to show you basically another feature. If you add on the look and feel, choose a header image. The options also from here is you can actually upload, or there is an existing group of sort of suggested images that you can actually choose from. So there is a nice gallery that's quite, let's choose something officey. Let's say this is like an HR related thing. There we go. And you can also see that the color changed to sort of adapt to the image there as well. So that's what I meant with, if you upload your own branding, an image there that has your branding on, the colors of the form would adapt to that image. So it would actually help streamline and make sure that there's some integrity in your corporate identity, which is quite nice. And then one more thing I just quickly want to show you. So you can actually check the box to say if there should be a progress bar. It would have been a good idea for this form. We have multiple sections, for example. It's a little bar at the bottom where as they go through the next section and the next and the next, they actually can see the completion of the form and the progress that they're making within. So that's also a nice feature. Okay, so we've got some responses. I just want to show you the questions were sitting right here. So these were the questions that we populated in the beginning. None of them were required, but you can actually make some of them required. If I click on responses, it would actually give me a list of everyone who submitted a response with the email addresses or the data that they chose to submit. And there we go. Here are some built-in graphs that you can actually leverage and see what the feedback actually concludes. So we can see that working from home has been so much fun for the most. That's great. And then also, do you need emotional support? So again, in an HR perspective, it's good to actually know if your team is doing okay. This would be an easy way to just sort of measure that and have that metric to work with the employees at the office. And again, this is just one use case. And then what was the impact of the lockdown on your family? I'm not going to go into that. And then I prefer to, this is interesting, hybrid seems to be the winner. Do a bit of both. I think we're productive at home, but we miss the social interaction at the office. So yeah, the least of us would actually want to work from the office. So this is quite interesting to see. Also on the date fields, this is just sample data, I'm assuming. But one step further, other than the responses here, you can actually go ahead and create a sheet. So the moment you create a form, already at the back end, it's linked to a Google Sheet where it populates all of the data that is actually received throughout submissions. And all of that data then sits in a sheet for you, ready to be processed or used or exported or contacted or whatever the case might be. So I mean, the use cases for this, especially knowing the capability at the end, if it's data that you need to filter on, sort, do pivot tables on, etc., this would actually be the ideal platform to not only collect the data, but to also process it afterwards. So on this sheet, you can work like a normal checkbox. So for example, if I want to say that I have checked in with a specific user or employee, you can actually go ahead, add some checkboxes or whatever the case might be. And you can work on this document like on any old sheet, like on any other sheet. So this is quite flexible in terms of you've got the form that you can customize. It's good to have a final version of that before you actually create the sheets. Because if you make changes on the forms, you would have additional columns in the sheets. But it's good to have like your final version of the form and then the final version of the sheets and work on the data from there. Yeah, so that concludes our form demo, which is quite interesting. Again, this form can be copied. You can work from the same form in the future. So it would be good to create a template, for example, that's got your branding on. You can copy and create different forms from there. So Barbara is going to just show us one or two use cases for Google Forms.